Beautiful, beloved soul family. Geeia Ariati. I'm the oracle for the 144. I am a quantum healer, the creator and the founder of the DAC process and the CAD framework, as well as master teacher of the Purity of Isis Mystery School. We also have a new credential to add to that, which is the New Earthers Mystery School. So this is a specific space to assist those that are choosing New Earth consciousness, New Earth resonance, to understand the foundations of how to be a New Earth or a conscious creator, and to start to work with the trinity in the three-dimensional reality and start to master your reality, which is quite interesting because many years ago I wanted to create a course that was called Dominating Duality, and it was all around understanding poles, light and dark, and poles of light and dark, say love and hate, and you find the middle way of what that is energetically, then you're able to create that trinity. And that sacred trinity gives you three perspectives, which allows you to be in the center point. You're not pulled from one or the other, which is really beautiful. But today we are not talking about New Earth. We are not talking about conscious dreaming. We are talking about what we are calling a soul crisis. So if you are joining and you are in the awareness that you are having a soul crisis, I'm going to explain all about soul crisis and what's happening for the 144 at this moment. So if you're joining, whenever you're joining, if you're watching the replay, if you're watching now, please comment hello, where you're watching from, how long you've been watching my content, how it provides and supports you, so that we can get some algorithms, magnetism, and connection happening. Because quite honestly, I've been out of alignment. I've been out of my self-integrity. And now that I'm coming back into the authentic truth of myself this last 12 months, like many of you, it's time to share the integrated wisdom. So, what is soul crisis and what is taking place for many of us at this point in time? Soul crisis is a little bit like a midlife crisis. Now, if we look at it from the human lens is quite entertaining in this way. A soul crisis is much the same as a midlife crisis. There is a requirement to pivot. There is a transformation. There's a change. There's a wanting to experience different things. There's a wanting to live life to the fullest. There's a sense of freedom. There's all of these different energies that sort of come up because for most individuals, if we look at this in the masculine format as the theme, a male tends to abandon himself in this reality up until around that midlife crisis, right? He serves, he will be in his business, he will be there for family, and he often neglects his own needs, his own desires, and they might have played out unconsciously, but there is a recognition that there is getting to a life where actually I want to live life for me. I don't want to be doing X, Y, and Z. It doesn't feel true for me to sacrifice myself anymore. And I'm actually going to start exploring things that I never got to explore, choosing to have experiences that I never got to experience, and play with life in a new formatting, where a lot of people would say that someone who's going through a midlife crisis, they become irresponsible, they become, immature. Well, it's not true, and it is true at the same time, right? Because there's a childlike nature that comes in. There's a returning to the self that comes as a part of a midlife crisis. So with the soul crisis, I want to explain this for the 144, for those that are moving through this. How do you identify it? How do we first recognize it? And what does it look like? Just like the midlife crisis, there's a pivot point. There's a recognition. There's a realization. For us as the 144, whether you're the first wave, the second wave, or the third wave, you've spent primarily most of your life purifying. You've spent most of your life alchemizing. You've spent most of your life clearing. And so most of your life you have been experiencing through contrast, alchemizing, karma, playing things out so that your energy can come to a point of choosing from sovereignty. So From the human lens, you have been in the healing. From the human lens, you've been going through a lot of work. You've been putting in the hours, the time, the energy. And what that looks like is no different to the man that has built a business and sacrificed himself for provision, because we are effectively been purifying, alchemizing, and transforming our consciousness for the provision of the human race. We have been providing for our brothers and sisters. We have been ensuring that information and wisdom and all of these things, our ancestral lines, our family lines, our medicine, our past life, that all of this is curated and gathered together so that we could pass it on, so that we could provide in a form of assisting the awakening on the planet. So the 144 and the bringers of change have been purifying, clearing, and doing some pretty gnarly, muddy work to get to a point of self-recognition or self-realization, transcendence, enlightenment, awakening. There's many different stages of this, and what's occurring is a point of recognition, realization of, hang on, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I'm not really on board with sacrificing myself to purify the earth because other human beings are not purifying the earth. I'm not really choosing to give myself up, give my health up, give my body up, give relationship up in the name of spirituality, in the name of enlightenment, in the name of the great awakening. And so what's awakening within the consciousness is a recognition of, I want to live my human experience for me. I want to live from my soul. I want to live from my heart. I want to live happy. Now, what that means is that there's a shift of this focus of, I'm here to come and save the world. I'm here to do this. And I have to clear, I have to be pure, to be a good person, to be godly, to be enlightened, to X, Y, Z. I must clear and purify and reconcile myself to arrive there. Now, what occurs is the realization that when you choose from your sacred heart, you are effectively doing the same thing. But you, in this reality, cannot choose your soul's truth, your sacred heart from your sovereignty without that clearing. So that path was necessary. The focus to be here for the enlightenment of the totality was a beautiful narrative and a pathway to get you to this point. But now you're in soul crisis, because all of those things that provided the pathway to clearing actually were not your sacred heart's desires for what it is that your soul wants to experience. So this is where soul trajectory is a little bit confusing. You go through a pivot point. The first half of your life experience, or it could go over multiple incarnations, is the clearing. So choosing the path, listening to God to get you to a point where you're able to listen, to hear, a point of what you might call the karmic life, and then you've got dharmic living. Now, this pathway that has been walked has got you to this pivot point. Now, you could call this the soul crisis. When you're in karmic living, when you're in that clearing phase, you think you're going to create this. You think you're going to be in service in this way. You think you want this relationship. You think you want X, Y, and Z. Because all of those messages, all of that intuitive guidance, all of those channels, all of those things, they haven't been paving the path specifically of your heart. They've been paving the path to take you to a point of clarity, clearing, sacred heart connection, and conscious choice. And so you get there and you realize that all of those things that you thought you wanted, all of those things that you thought you meant a lot to you, actually weren't that at all. They were just getting you to a point where you get to realize through the purified lens of what you really want. So what's happening for us as a group, as the 144, is this crisis of, I thought I wanted to be of contribution in a global presence. I thought I wanted to run a mystery school. I thought I wanted to have a family. I thought I wanted to be a healer. I thought I wanted to make millions of dollars. I thought I wanted X, Y, and Z because of this story, this story, this story, this story, and this justification. But really, what it was the vision that was going to keep pushing me through my purification. It was the vision that was going to keep allowing me to get up and keep going through my soul's journey. So I want you to look at, as you're receiving this, what was your story that was allowing you to get to the point of sovereign choice? Now, for me, I can explain what it was for me. My story was, I need to get to a point of global contribution. I need to be here. I need to share my modality. I need to be able to be seen, heard. I need to express my wisdom. I need to understand and gift the templates. I need to rebirth people. I need to awaken them through their kundalini. I need to do all of this for humanity. I need to save and assist humanity. The more people I can reach, the more I can shift the consciousness on the planet. So my focus was big business, global reach, some level of fame, and I kept pushing myself to get to that point, even though I was listening, and everything that I was listening to was giving me a different kind of format. You know, I was never asked to get a business coach and to create the same funnels. I was never asked to do certain things that I knew from the human logic that this was would have been a very helpful business investment, but it wasn't about that. That vision of global contribution, that vision of being in resonance to someone's soul, to the hearts, to being able to be organically connected so that people can hear and receive and connect in to their own activations, their own DNA strands coming online through my Christos, through my speaking, through the way I move my hands because I weave light, right? All of that was a pathway to get me to a point of where I'm sitting now, no different to any of you, sitting in a point of purified expression where I'm having a soul crisis because I don't want that. I stepped into my new earth consciousness and I don't want to be a healer, right? So that was one of the first things that came up was like, I don't like healing. I don't want to do exorcisms. I don't want to release entities. I don't want to work with the dark. That's not true for me. I have all of these other things that I'm really skilled at. Let's see how we can transform them in a way that's fun. Now, I'm looking at other things and I'm like, hang on, I don't care about this anymore. So what has allowed me to hear this channel, to share this message with you, is I was on my social media and I was looking at two very successful Gold Coast spiritual conscious business entrepreneurs. And I was looking at their marketing and I've just got a quote for a marketing consultant, and I've been, consistently building my business, consistently building my brand. It was hard with having a full pivot in the middle of my journey, and leading me to this message right here is that had I have invested all of that money, it would have taken me down a path that I didn't actually want to go, because I don't want to share the DAC process globally because it functions off old world energy. I don't want to become a quantum healer that is known for that because I don't want to heal. So can you understand how those things, until you get out of that footprint so that you can get to what you might call the path of destiny, the path of new earth, the path of your dharma, the path of your sacred heart, the path of your soul, that is the path that's taken you there. And then you go, actually, that was a manufactured of my mind because it felt true at the time, but it was really taking me to where I'm going. And if I'm reevaluating and doing a life review now, what is it that I really want? And so I was looking at these marketing and I was like, going into the old formatting, my old earth consciousness, it was like, I should probably start to sound, video, do some proper podcasting, and put all of this visual glitz, right? More attractivity. And I sat there and I was like, I don't even want that. Right? I was like, I don't want that. That doesn't make my heart happy at all. Nowhere in my heart do I feel happy about paying for a studio, investing in a studio, sitting there doing a podcast and paying, thousands of dollars for someone to edit it and market it. I actually want to invest my money and my sacred contributions for my service into other things. What they are at this point, I'm not sure, because I'm also in a soul crisis, right? So I've got to do a full life review. And what we have been doing as 144 is exactly that. What is it that I really want in relationship? What is it that I really want for family? What is it that I really feel aligned to? This only happens from the heart. This only happens from the soul's integrity. It only happens from that point of purity. And I mean, the beautiful thing is that I have experienced this in the old earth self and the new earth. So I've now doubled down. It's just that sometimes you forget things when you've gone through a big initiation, right? And so many of you are having this question of, I've done so much work. How am I back here? You're not back here. It's a different experience. You're not cycling the same things. You are seeing from a different lens, right? So I did a life review. I came to transcendence in my old earth self. I was on path. I was so freaking happy. And I was creating from that. But now I'm in my new earth self. None of that fits. So it's a whole new life review. So this crisis is, you want to have fun. You came to earth for the playground of fun. You came to earth so that you could experience. What is it that you want to experience? What is it that you want to play with? Because we know if we don't choose it consciously, we will create contrast to give us what we want. That is just universal law. So in this instance, in this situation, one of the things that is true for me very actively and for my partner is that we desire to have a throuple relationship. Now, I'm going to bring this up again because it's helpful in the creation process. So the focus is like, what actually is that? Most people fantasize about these things or go, this will be fun, or I want to do this, or I want to travel here. But they don't get really clear. What does it bring to your life? Why is it of contribution to you? What does it make your heart feel? Why do you desire it? What does it develop for your soul? How can you bring it into your experience? Where are you out of alignment? What would bring you into a unified expression of creating it, right? So there's all these different questions and self-reflection that you can really look at as to why you want something like that. Why is that your truth in this experience? Because really, if me and my partner weren't so conscious and aware and standing in our new earth energy, what would happen is we could just bring anyone into our life experience. Sure, we could have that connection with anyone, but that's not the truth. The truth is that this woman must have an archetypal energy of a new earth goddess. She must also hold the energy of the rose codes or the ancestral lineage of unconditional love, much like a version of the different priestess and the goddess that are in the Mary energy. She must have a connection to Christ. She must have a connection to heavens. She must have done her inner work. She also must have a mission and a purpose in devotion to the feminine. So this is much more than just, I want to experience X, Y, and Z. This is what life review is. You're creating your new blueprint from sovereign choice based on, I've stepped out of that part of experience. Now I'm purified. I've gotten to the point of purification. I'm landing in this spaciousness. I'm either going to recreate what was, because I don't know how to move forward. I don't know how to be honest with myself. I don't know how to focus present moment forward on what I'm bringing into my reality. I'm not investing in myself if you don't take time, right? Key. This is key, right? So this is, please hear this. When you get to a clear and a purified moment, If you stop doing the work, you'll create the past. That I can guarantee. When people arrive, when people get to transcendence, when people get to a point of spaciousness, when people get to a point of, I've got it, it's landed, they get lazy. They get sloppy. They actually go into unconscious creation from that point because they think that once you're there, you don't need to worry about it. No, you are a conscious creator. So if you've healed something, you need to acknowledge you've healed something, acknowledge the changes, look at the awareness. Where am I going? Sitting in the spaciousness can be helpful as it settles for moments, not for a long time. Sitting in the pause, focusing on what you might call stopping, because that's often what happens, will only recreate the past, hold you, and you'll start to tether. So this clearing, this spacious, this purification as we tip, recognizing, yes, you're in a soul crisis. Now you need to do a life review. You need to get your notebook out, your diary out. You need to sit and channel. You need to focus energetically on where are you going and what are you doing. Because if you don't get clear from the space, from that 0 point field, you will recreate the past. And as someone who knows, you can recreate ego. You can recreate trauma. You can recreate space. And then you have to fix it all because you didn't allow yourself to be clear when you had the space to focus on that conscious presentation moving forward. So this opportunity is for us to life review, to look at all areas of your life and go, here, what makes me fucking happy? What is it that brings me joy? Do I want to invest in this? No. Why? Because it's not my truth. Great. Awesome. What is your truth? What does it feel like to be in a full body? Fuck yes. Sacred yes. I want this. This brings me joy. Because when we are coming from the fullness of our heart, when we're coming from those full body yeses, then we are able to actually align to those experiences quicker. You may need to work on things. You may need to alchemize things. You may feel uncomfortable in your full body yeses, right? They're not always going to feel good. When I chose to realize that I was in a very spiritually abusive relationship over the last 12 months and get out of the illusion, I had to feel the full body yes of, I don't want this person in my life in any way, shape, or form. That didn't feel good, but it felt like a full body yes. I do not want that. I know that. I want to create from something that is in reciprocity. I want to create something that is loving and that can meet me and match me. I want to create with those that put as much energy into me as I put into them. I want to be able to create with new earthers, right? So your full body yeses are going to be your pathway to this life review. Your ability to understand what your soul is moving through is going to become apparent when you ask specific questions of, what do I want? Why do I want it? When do I want it? How do I want it, right? So you can use the simplest things to build a full, clear picture and sit in your mind-heart coherence and then ask, what's blocking me from that? What's blocking me from that? It might be a belief that if you don't catch or override with something that is stronger through your focus lens, that you'll create the contrast to do it. You will create the contrast because guess what? Your soul won't let you give up. Your soul wants you to be happy. God wants you to be happy. Life wants to give you what you truly desire, and it doesn't care how it gives it to you. And you ultimately have the choice as a soul here, having a human experience, You can choose any narrative you like to get there. What's the narrative that you really want to choose? What's the narrative that brings you joy? I know the narrative for me now is that I want to live my 42,000 years on this planet. I don't want to do that. I want to live my life for me. And I want to in a loving, compassionate, kind way, because guess what? I learned a lot on being on the planet. I learned a lot around gifts and abilities, and I watched the what's it called? Lucy movie. I watched the Lucy movie the other day, and I was looking, and I was like, 12 months ago, my brain capacity was at 28%. I was so tapped in. I was seeing so many things. I was doing so much. It was amazing. But do I want that now? Do I actually want all of those gifts online up and seeing and being and experiencing in the quantum realms the way that I was? Or would I like to live a different experience? And it was interesting because I don't have an answer to that just yet, which means that there's something in the way of being really clear. What do I want my gifts to be? I do know that I'm enjoying being able to share Kundalini and being able to use the CAD framework, which is a 12-step creation technique, so that people can build wealth, abundance, prosperity through this beautiful, yummy sexual breath work. Because I have sacred sexuality in my bones. It's who I am. I am a sexual being. I am a goddess. I am oozing with the rivers of life, right? So for me, coming back into that from my purified lens is actually something that I really like. I'm really enjoying that I get to share Kundalini again. I'm really excited that I'm able to dance in this connective way, but from purity, in a way that has not existed for me on the planet before. So I want to leave you with a couple of questions and a bit of a recognition that in your soul crisis, in this point, this life review, what is it that is currently in your life that is not serving your future? So what is it that's currently in your life that is not serving your future? What denied aspect of self would like to be remembered? What denied aspect of self would like to be remembered? And if you could unlock anything that your heart and your soul desires, and you didn't have a story, so if you could unlock anything that your heart and your soul desires and you didn't have a story, what would it be? What would it be? And allow yourself to really receive the frequencies here, the codes, the awareness, and to navigate yourself forward. Please, if you do enjoy this content, continue to comment, like, share, and assist the brothers and sisters and me to be in better alignment so that we can, this is valuable information. That's what I'm here for. I actually like being the oracle of the 144, right? I do. I enjoy it. I get to share collective messages before anyone realizes what's going on. I get to see them and realize through this ability. I like this ability of mine. I like being able to pull things together. I like being able to alchemize them. I like to be able to translate what many of you are seeing, witnessing, and observing, but have no idea how to consciously make sense of it. That's my gift, is the gift of word. It is the gift of transmission. It is this gift of expression. And I enjoy that. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to get global reach. I'm not here to save the world. I'm here because I like going, we're in a collective energy update. We're doing this. Oh, we're all doing this. How do I grow better? By speaking the word out aloud to an audience that wants to hear it, so then I can have the direct feedback back and further develop myself. Because that's what I'm doing, right? This is the life review piece. I'm facilitating not for you, not for humanity, but for me. Everything I facilitate is directly serving my own path, evolution, and creation. You could call it self-serving, which has not been a pathway for me. And that's because it brings me joy. It's self-serving. It highlights me. I have joy. I have a field, an auric clarity. I have a contribution. But I'm not doing it for anything. I don't need any validation. All I need is the direct feedback of, this is what's coming through. Share it. Oh, okay, I need to go and do X, Y, and Z myself so that I can assist my soul to get out of crisis mode and come into clear focus, creation, and destiny forward, so that I can make the necessary changes in my dynamic so that I'm not feeling this, that the past is the past, that vision is gone, that desire is no longer. It's okay, I'm clear now. Let's go, let's move forward, let's start running. So that's what's happening. Life review, blueprint creation, and getting this path clear so you can start running. If you want to skip, you can skip. If this is true for you, if you really want to develop this, and if divine partnership or sacred union is one of the main priorities for you, so if you are sitting in the desire for a divine union, for some kind of a lifelong partnership, for some form of romantic connection that is integral with your heart and your soul, then our mystery school, New Earthers, is the best place for you to possibly start to invest in this. This will help you to build the creation templates. It will help you to understand the trinity of man, woman, God, and it will help you to develop the relationship or the partnership with God, self, other, and cultivate this trinity to its most powerful way of you actually bringing that in. So why am I doing that now? Because I also need it. I have my beautiful other half that is exactly that, but we want to create a third individual as our beloved into our relationship so that we have that trinity dynamic that holds, meets all of our needs from all of the different perspectives. And guess what? We don't have to sacrifice. So for anyone who is and has been in these ways, this is a great one, right? For a lot of people that are bisexual, they always think they have to sacrifice their needs or they have to choose. For me, it was years of going, do I be with a woman? Do I be with a man? I want to be monogamous with a man because it's safe and secure and I want to be provided for, but I also really love women. And I'm also terrified of them because I haven't healed my trauma of my sexual abuse from my mother, right? So you can see that this path was providing the clarity to get here, to alchemize it, to be able to choose it, where you can create exactly the partner that wants the exact same thing. They exist. There's millions, billions of souls on this planet that will want exactly what you've created for yourself and will be creating you at the same time. Because we've been creating these pathways for our entire human experience, not just in the last few years, not when you come onto the New Earthers Mystery School call. You're just becoming conscious of it. You're just refining it. You're just being able to place your focused intention onto it so that you can bring it into your physical reality. Because conscious dreaming is that. What you focus on in your waking state is what you will create. If you're focusing on being psychically attacked, guess what? More of that's going to come. If you're focusing on the need to heal, you will find more things you need to heal. If you are focusing on a point of wrongness, you will find much wrongness. So what is it you're focusing on? For me, to get to the point that I did, my focus was transcendence. I must reach transcendence. I must reach transcendence. I must reach transcendence. So the healing wasn't the focus. It was a pathway to transcendence. The awakening or the ascension wasn't the focus. It was a pathway to transcendence. The relationships were a pathway to transcendence. Everything in my life was a pathway to transcendence. Then what happened? My focus went from transcendence to new earth. Now, everything in my life that I'm creating is a pathway to get me to new earth. So now I'm transcended and almost transcended in the new earth. But this is how it works. What is it you're really focusing on? Many of the times throughout my period, my focus was on some kind of relationship. For years, my focus was on love. Now, that means that you're going to create exactly what you need to get to that point. So transcendence, new earth, and love created my current partnership. Perfect, beautiful. Didn't do all of that through the conscious awareness, but can look back now. Transcendence, new earth, love. Oh, there's Brendan. How lucky am I? No, I consciously focused and retrained my mind over and over and over again. Every time I wanted to shut my heart because I had a gazillion relationships to purify the gazillion distortions that were showing me what pure love is and how to be love, I chose love over fear. I chose love over pain. I chose love over the experience, right? So that's what it is. That's the conscious focus. So what is your current 3 pillars of conscious focus moving forward? I don't need to focus on transcendence, but I'm still focusing on new earth. I'm also focusing on wealth. And I'm also focusing on the feminine. Now, that's an interesting trinity. Does that mean that that is the energy of the other individual that's going to come into my life, or does it mean something else? I mean, we could look at it and we could find that out, but I'm going to leave you to sit with your own trinity and discover that. What are you focusing on as your full reality to what it is that you sacredly heart want to embody so that you can step out of this confusion and devote yourself, to your heart's desires. For New Earth memberships, you can follow the links in my link tree. There is currently a setup there that you can do, or you can contact me directly and I can explain the 3 hours of training that we have, the energy updates, the different processes, the quantum transformations, the energetic, the DNA, the healing, the transformation, all the things. Or if you would like to receive a one-on-one with me, please reach out or follow the links for a booking point in the calendar. All right. I love you. I love you. I love you. Adonai. Until next time.